Beiling Shaw and Monique Clifford each have children who go to San Diego Unified's Language Academy in the college area. Clifford says years of state budget cuts have left the school in a bind.
We've cut any kind of fat, we've cut muscle, we're cutting limbs. We cannot cut anymore. It's too devastating, it's destabilizing.
Shaw agrees. Her son's fifth grade class has 41 students, but that's not the only problem.
My son's elementary school has no music, unless it's paid for by parent fundraising. My son's elementary school has no art, unless it's paid for by parent fundraising.
What Clifford and Shaw don't agree on is how to vote on Propositions 30 and 38 on November's ballot. Governor Jerry Brown is behind Proposition 30. That measure would raise sales tax by 1/4 cent for the next 4 years and increase income taxes on Californians earning more than $250,000 a year by between 1 and 3%. Clifford, who's also a teacher at the Language Academy, says supporting Brown's measure is the fairest way to go because it won't cut far into middle-income pocketbooks.
Parents, teachers have already been paying extra because they see what's needed and they've tried to meet those needs. And yet we're going to be willing to pay that extra sales tax.
In addition to being a parent, Shaw is the regional PTA spokeswoman, and California PTAs have gotten behind Proposition 38, which is backed by wealthy activist Molly Munger. The measure would raise income taxes on all but the poorest Californians by between 0.4 and 2.2% for the next 12 years. Those taxes are expected to raise about $10 billion a year. But Shaw says that's just the start of the differences between the two propositions.
The one that means the most to me is the setting up of an independent trust fund that will collect Prop 38 revenue and disperse it directly to schools on a per-child basis.
Some of the money would also go toward paying down state debts and to early childhood education programs. That separate account is key for Shaw because she says state lawmakers have a history of finding ways around California's minimum school funding guarantee.
The voters of California are sick of our schools getting ripped off by funds getting diverted out of the general fund for something else.
Funds from the governor's Proposition 30 would go into a new account that would be part of the state's general fund. In future years, the money would free up other state funds for other programs, not necessarily increase funding for schools. But Clifford says that's part of why she supports the measure.
We can't just think our schools need more money. Our schools need stable communities, and Prop 30 provides the extra support for public safety and health and human services. Our kids are not going to learn if they don't have basic needs met.
If Proposition 30 fails, this year's state budget is set to cut $5.3 billion from the state's public schools and community colleges, $500 million from its universities, and about $100 million total from other state departments and local public safety grants. Many education supporters, including San Diego Unified's Board of Education, are asking voters to vote yes on both measures. If both pass in November, the initiative with the most yes votes would be the one to go into effect. The board's president, John Lee Evans, says every voter who supports both is sending a clear message to legislators.
I think there's really going to be an outcry on the public's part for funding for public education. We rank number 47th in the nation in terms of per pupil funding, and this is just not acceptable. And I think the voters are really going to say, let's stand up and vote for anything that's really going to improve our schools.
But Chris Cate with the San Diego Taxpayers Association says by rejecting both measures, voters would be sending another equally important message.
We already have the second highest income tax rate in the country. We have the highest sales tax rate in the country.
He says if funding education is a state priority, it should be reflected in the budget.
They should focus on that rather than wasting time, energy, and money on things like high-speed rail or other pet projects that they want to get done.
Educators, students, parents, and taxpayers across San Diego County and the state are holding their breath, waiting to hear which message voters choose.